Mangwana ni mwalelepovu kenjani breakfast whenever Africa. Welcome to Africa Good Morning, the news and current affairs show bringing you everything you need to know happening on the African continent and beyond. You are joined by Ashwin Betty and Glenora Shipura. How are you, Glenn?
I'm doing very well. How was your weekend?
My weekend was fantastic. Could have been better.
Could have been better, indeed.
Colby, you could have kicked it over the post. You could have. Okay. Pollard, come back.
Yeah, but we keep our fingers crossed.
Definitely Springboks. We're going to do fine ahead.
Yes.
And we're just keeping our fingers crossed against Uruguay.
Well, moving on into what you can expect in today's broadcast. Large German vaccine firm seemingly abandons plans for SA factory. Multi-day protest over economic crisis grips Ghana's capital, and dozens killed in fuel depot blast. We'll also be crossing over to Talengore later in the show, who will be filling us in on the news making waves in Zimbabwe.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master.
Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
All right, let's dive straight into our top stories. BioNTech is revising plans to manufacture a network of vaccine plants in 3 countries in Africa, just over a year after breaking ground on the first facility in Rwanda. BioNTech is Pfizer's partner in developing COVID vaccines. Now, in a potential blow to Africa's hopes for greater vaccine self-reliance, the German biotech company is currently not moving forward with a plan for a manufacturing facility in South Africa, according to people familiar with the project who asked not to be identified at discussing confidential information. In Senegal, BioNTech is now holding discussions about developing a smaller scale manufacturing site or possibly an R&D center. The moves come after BioNTech shipped 6 containers to Kigali, Rwanda in March. The company designed its BioNTainer facilities as part of an ambitious program to help ensure people on the continent have equitable access to mRNA technology that soared to prominence during the race to develop a vaccine against COVID-19.
Multi-day protest over economic crisis grips Ghana's capital. Hundreds of demonstrators gathered in the Ghanaian capital, Accra, on Saturday for a 3rd day of anti-government protests linked to economic hardship that have led to dozens of arrests. Protesters, some waving placards of the Ghanaian flag, decried the high cost of living and a lack of jobs as they marched under the watch of riot police. The gold, oil and cocoa producing nation has been battling its worst economic crisis in a generation, brought on by a spiraling public debt. Now, the average Ghanaian can't afford 3 square meals per day. The government doesn't care, said 24-year-old unemployed protester Romeo. Police blocked the road to prevent protesters from approaching Jubilee House, the seat of the presidency, which organizers Democracy Hub have vowed to occupy. On Thursday, police said 49 people have been detained for unlawful assembly and violating the Public Order Act on the first day of the 3-day action. There was no sign of further arrests, and the situation appeared calm on Saturday. Last year, protests over soaring prices and other economic challenges led to clashes with the police.
Now, an explosion erupted at a warehouse for smuggled fuel in Benin, and this is in the Southern Territory. Benin's informal economy is heavily reliant on selling smuggled Nigerian fuel on the black market. An explosion at what is believed to be an illegal fuel depot in southern Benin killed at least 35 people and injured several others on Saturday, according to the government. A Justice Ministry statement shared by local radio BIP Radio Cotonou put the death toll at 35, with a child among the dead. It said a fire broke out at a store, adding that a preliminary investigation suggested it took place as gasoline bags were being unloaded from a vehicle. The French AFP news agency said the blast occurred at a contraband fuel depot and reported that it happened when commuters of cars, motorbikes and tricycle taxis lined up at the warehouse to stock up on fuel.
Now swinging over to East Africa, the Tanzania Civil Aviation Authority signed a contract with Indra Avitech worth 3.29 million euros to design, supply, install test, integrate, and commission an aeronautical information management system. The contract focuses on TCAA's contribution to improving flight safety in Tanzanian airspace through the provision of right safety-critical, high-quality aeronautical information in the right place and at the right time for stakeholders. Now, TCCA Director General Hamza Johari told journalists shortly after inking the pact that the project will be implemented for 18 months, commencing after the contract had been signed. He said the provision and exchange of data will be done in collaboration with all parties, thus ensuring the safety, regularity, and efficiency of national and international air navigation.
Now, the head of Sudan's army has told the BBC that he is willing to talk to the commander of rebel forces whom he is battling for control of the country. General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan said he was ready to, in principle, to sit down with Mohamed Hamdan Dagalo, leader of the Rapid Support Forces. The two men have been fighting a brutal internal war since April, which the UN says has left more than 5,000 people dead. It says that more than 5 million people have been displaced. General Burhan, who sees power in a coup in 2021, was speaking to the BBC in a rare interview after addressing the UN General Assembly. Stay with us, as after the break we talk to Talent Gore about the latest stories coming from Zimbabwe. Stay with us.
We are so excited to be kickstarting your morning with entertainment. Everything was happening during this past weekend.
Yes.
Exciting news.
Wow, no, she was killing it already.
In my opinion, I don't see anything wrong with him serving the full term.
As well as keeping you informed on the issues that you need to know happening in and around our country.
All right, it's time for us to talk to Talent Gore as she informs us on the latest stories on the ground in Zimbabwe. Talent, wamukase mvurono.
Tamkaidukana mamkao mamkase Africa.
Tinoshinura. Let's get straight into your first story. $4 billion US. And I need you to let me know if I'm getting this number right, because if I'm not mistaken, that's probably bigger than most economies. $4 billion US in illicit drugs recovered. Tell us about that.
Well, it's not a US dollars, it's a Zimbabwean dollars.
I had a feeling. I had a feeling, Talent, because, you know, 4 billion, that's a bit of a stretch. You know, what kind of drugs are these? But tell us more.
Yes, illicit drugs and substances which are amounting to by police countrywide under the operation No to Dangerous Drugs and Illicit Substances between January 1 and September 14 this year. At least 5,367 people, including 877 women, have been arrested to date. And according to the figures which were released by the police, 4,337 people paid fines at various police stations after being found in possession of illicit drugs or substances. Also, you find out that there have been places which were raided in which people go to buy these drugs. In Zimbabwe, they are referred to as bases. So you find most people taking their drugs at those places, and 80 of those bases were destroyed and raided by the police. And some of the people, they actually appeared before the courts. But in Zimbabwe, we do not have a law which criminalizes the use of meth. So you find out that if a person just pays, if a person pays fine, that person is not prosecuted. They'll just be
Talent.
Free.
They'll just be, I guess, remanded and released. And I just want to be clear on this. In Zimbabwe, which has laws like the Patriotic Bill and all sorts of obscure laws, there is no law that can incarcerate someone for taking the most dangerous drug in the world, crystal meth. I just need you to emphasize that.
Yes, we do not have a law which criminalizes the use of crystal meth. So you find out that if someone is arrested, that person will just be told to pay a fine. But if they do go to the courts, they will not be prosecuted, as there is no law which actually criminalizes the use of crystal meth. So there are debates there are debates going on right now, especially when it comes to the use of crystal meth, because people are saying that there has to be a law which criminalizes the use of crystal meth. Right now, it is the most used drugs in Zimbabwe, and you find out that most people they are using, most youth to be particular, are using crystal meth, but there is no law which criminalizes the use and the selling of crystal meth. So people are saying that something has to be done. There has to be a law which has to be enacted to ensure that the use of crystal meth is criminalized in Zimbabwe. But as of now, no law or there's no law which criminalizes the use of crystal meth.
Wow, that's a mind-blowing developments there. Now moving on, Zimbabwe is too risky for business. From my understanding, this is according to a report. Can you get into this?
Yes, well, in a move that will dent Zimbabwe's chances of attracting a foreign direct investment, an international risk assessment firm has ranked the country as the most risky for doing business and with the least score of after investment. The report released by Control Risk and Oxford Economics Africa showed that Zimbabwe's chances of safer returns were slightly more than 2%. The risk reward index 2023 puts Zimbabwe as the country with the lowest reward scores and highest risk. In explaining the position, the index states that the position of each country is defined by its risk and reward score. Zimbabwe is at 7.65 risk and a 2.53 reward scores.
Very interesting, Zimbabwe risky for business. Don't tell Hubert Angel and the gold mafia that. Don't do it. Let's move over to the last story. I was scrolling on TikTok happily, and then I saw that Zimbabwe had its most recent pageant, Miss Universe Zimbabwe, which hasn't been held in the last 20 years, and Queen, in quotes, was crowned. Tell us more.
Yes, Zimbabwe is set to resume participating at the Miss Universe after having last participated 22 years ago. And apparently the Miss Universe was, and it is Brooke Jackson. Apparently, there has been a lot of debate going on social media, with people saying that Brooke was not supposed to be crowned as the Miss Universe. She was not supposed to represent Zimbabwe as the Miss Universe, which is going to be held in the next 2-3 months. So people are saying that she was not deserving, and some people are saying that someone who is a black was supposed to represent Zimbabwe, as the majority of Zimbabweans are black, and so most people, they are not quite happy that Brooke was selected to represent Zimbabwe at the Miss Universe. But some other people are saying that that is being racist, as Brooke is also Zimbabwean by birth. She was born in Zimbabwe, raised in Zimbabwe, and she deserves to represent the country at the Miss Universe, as she is Zimbabwean. We can't disregard it because because majority of the Zimbabweans are black and she is white. So some people are saying that it's not fair because we have other people who represent the country, especially in sports. We have Sikada Raza in cricket. We had Kirsty Coventry, who brought Zimbabwe many gold medals at the Olympics. And people were happy with those people representing the country, but they are quite mad or outraged at Brooke Jackson representing Zimbabwe as the Miss Universe. So people are saying that it's not fair that she's getting that such of trolling on social media.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, Zimbabwe is a nationality, and if you're born in the country, you are Zimbabwean. And I can add a name to that list. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Nick Price, who was the world #1 at golf. I certainly had no problem or any issues looking up to him. However, when it comes to Brooke, I have exactly only one issue. She pronounces Harare as Harare. Brooke, let's fix that. It's not Harare, it's Harare. We are together. Thank you, Talent, for bringing us the stories from Zimbabwe.
You're welcome, and thank you very much for having me.
It's always good having you on Africa Good Morning. Let's swing over to the weather.
Welcome to What's Cooking, where culinary passion meets expert insights.
Somebody must really want to cook and want to cook good food.
Immerse yourself in the bustling world of professional kitchens as top chefs create mouthwatering dishes. Join us for in-depth interviews as our host explores the experiences and expertise of our guest chefs. Don't miss out. Tune in to What's Cooking on NTV every Friday at 2100 hours and let the culinary adventure begin.
All right, let's get into the economic news stories. A $25 billion goal of the African Development Bank is well on track, according to AFDB President Akinwumi Adesina, whose organization supports programs in over 30 African nations that have contributed to the production of almost $12 billion worth of food. The AFDB president disclosed to the American news agency Reuters that as far as he is concerned, we shouldn't be talking about food security in Africa more than 5 years from now. There's no reason for it, as we have the technology and financing to do it at scale.
Now, if you're looking to settle down in South Africa, Cape Town is SA's most affordable city to rent, and Johannesburg is the cheapest to buy. Indebted consumers will have to endure the elevated cost of borrowing for a bit longer as the South African Reserve Bank maintains its hawkish monetary policy stance on sticky inflation concerns. SARB Governor Lesesha Kanyago yesterday said that the bank's Monetary Policy Committee had decided to keep the repurchase rate at its current 14-year high level of 8.25% per annum. 3 members of the MPC preferred to keep rates on hold, and 2 preferred an increase of 25 basis points. Kanyago cited concerns about the continued depreciation of the rand and the ongoing multiplicity of supply shock pressures on inflation as the key drivers behind the decision.
All right, let's head into the economic indicators just before we head to the sport. Something about the Ethiopians, when they see records, they're like a child with a birthday cake. They will absolutely smash them, because Ethiopia's Tikset Assefa shattered the women's marathon world record in Berlin on Sunday, lopping off more than 2 minutes from the previous best to clock an official time of 2 hours, 11 minutes and 53 seconds. Assefa, who had set a course record with a personal best last year, set a blistering early pace, gradually shaking off any competition to pulverize Kenyan Bridget Kosgei's record of 2 hours, 14 minutes and 4 seconds set in 2019.
Afghanistan women's volleyball team fumes at training conditions in Hangzhou. The Afghanistan's women's volleyball team has lamented training conditions at the Asian Games and are concerned they will not be ready for an event where they are participating in defiance of the country's Taliban rulers. Kushal Malakazi, who runs the nation's volleyball program, said the team had not been able to practice on a court since arriving in Hangzhou last Thursday and were confined to doing fitness work in the gym. We still haven't been able to train, he told Reuters on Sunday.
And
fully
Arsenal
unfortunate.
and Tottenham Hotspur slugged each other to a standstill in an absorbing 2-2 draw in Sunday's big Premier League derby, and Liverpool maintained their resurgence to move into second place after a victory over West Ham United. Brighton and Hove and Albion shrugged off the midweek disappointment of losing their first European game to move into third place. Chelsea is still struggling. However, Sheffield United slumped to the bottom of the table as they suffered an 8-0 home thrashing by Newcastle United. It's no secret I'm an Arsenal fan, but sometimes I have to be guided by logic, all right? Arsenal beat Manchester United by 2 goals. Tottenham beat Manchester United by 2 goals. Tottenham scored 2 goals, Arsenal scored 2 goals. I'm not happy with the results, but the maths make sense, and Manchester United still has work to do. However, speaking of work to do, the Valviches have not been having a good Rugby World Cup. If we're going to be honest, I'd say not a good tournament altogether.
Yes.
And they're hoping to turn that around as they face Uruguay. Here's Ari Hohwad, who is deep in France, hopefully not enjoying too many croissants.
Fans from Uruguay, and interestingly enough to get his view on the game a little bit, but more what can happen from Namibia playing Uruguay. That just gives a little bit of a feel for what's happening here, World Cup 2023. It is Uruguay playing in the World Cup. It's nice for you to be in France. You enjoy?
We are very happy to be in France, very happy to meet some friends from the small countries we are both. And we hope for next week a very good open game and to celebrate our presence in this World Cup.
Excellent. And it's also a privilege for us from Namibia to meet people from Uruguay. That's what you mean. It's nice to meet people that you play against.
We will beat Namibia. Sorry.
Yes.
I'm not sure if we understand very well.
We also want to beat Uruguay, but for now, we're friends.
That's an opportunity for you.
Yes,
sure.
it's opportunity.
You have more chances than to beat All Blacks or friends.
No, we're now friends. And next week, Thursday, when they play, then it's more competitive. But after the game, even, we will be friends.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure, definitely. And have a drink together.
Yes, maybe 2. Maybe. But you think Uruguay will be strong? They played well. Italy, first half was very good.
First half was very good, yes. But afterwards, the difference of level is there.
Yeah, so
unfortunately.
That we also saw that when
we have less difference next in Lyon.
It will be close, yes.
More.
But it's privileged to.
Hello and welcome to today's Sports Rep Show.
I am your host, Jesse Jackson Kauraika. In replay, Namibia, who had won the toss for the first time on this tour.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with tennis news, both on the WTA for women's and
Africa, good morning on Monday, the 25th of September. Thank you very much for joining us. These are some of the highlights from this morning's broadcast. Large German vaccine firm seemingly abandons plans for SA factory. Multi-day protests over economic crisis grip Ghana's capital. Africa's food insecurity to be non-existent in the next 5 years, according to the AFDB.
And with that, we've come to the end of our broadcast. Thank you for joining us on this lovely Monday morning. From me, Glenn Rashipura.
And from me, Ashwin Berry. Have a wonderful week.